Israeli forces of occupation escalate aggression on the Gaza Strip, killing 41 martyrs and wounding more than 330. Protests in various world capitals denouncing Israeli massacres in the Gaza Strip. And for the fourth consecutive day, huge demonstrations are staged in Jordan protesting the increase of fuel prices. Good afternoon, this is News in English. The death toll of the Israeli aggression on the Gaza Strip reached 41 martyrs, while more than 330 Palestinians are injured, some in a critical situation. This is the fourth consecutive day in the ongoing attack.
4 Palestinians were killed this morning and scores injured as a result of the continued Israeli raids on Gaza Strip this morning. Palestinian news agencies said that 3 Palestinians were martyred by the latest Israeli raids, which targeted east of the Maghazi camp. In Rafah, Palestinian citizen Mukhlis Adwan was martyred when the Israeli aircrafts raided Rafah, South Gaza Strip, while a woman and her child were injured by the Israeli raids on the house in Deir al-Balah. 5 Palestinians were also killed and others injured, some in dangerous conditions, as the Israeli aircrafts shelled a group of citizens in Khirbat al-Adas in Rafah city, south of Gaza Strip. An Israeli drone shelled a gathering for Palestinian people at the aforementioned neighborhood, killing 5 Palestinians, among them Awad Hamdi Nahal and Abdul Rahman al-Masri, while others were injured and admitted to Abu Yusuf al-Najjar hospital in Rafah, some of them in critical situation. Earlier, more than 30 Palestinians, most of them children, were injured, as an Israeli F-16 warplane shelled a house belonging to Sulaiman Abu Hassan Salah in Jabalia, northern Gaza Strip. The 2-story house was completely destroyed. Medical sources said that the injured, most of them children, were hospitalized into Kamal Adwan Hospital, 2 of them in critical situation, while some still under the rubble. The Israeli aircraft also fired 4 rockets on the Palestinian playground in Gaza. Ambulances rushed to the site and a number of injured people were hospitalized. The Israeli raids on the Strip continued for the 4th consecutive day, as the Israeli aircraft during the night carried out a number of raids on Gaza, targeting a 3-story building belonging to Hamas, which was completely destroyed. The Israeli aircraft also shelled Arafat city for police at dawn today.
Many Arab and Western countries are witnessing wide condemnation and huge demonstrations that call to halt Israel's crimes perpetrated against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip and to intensify efforts by the international community to stop the bloodshed of civilians there. Under the motto, "By resistance only and not by the help of the Arab League, we can liberate Palestine. Long live the Palestinian resistance and down with the Israeli terrorism," Lebanese youth massed in front of the UN's headquarters in Beirut, calling upon the international community and the Arab countries to condemn the crimes perpetrated by Israel against the Palestinians and to take actions to halt it. Iraq said it would ask its envoy to the Arab League to propose to use oil as a weapon to exercise pressure on the US and all those who support the Israeli occupation. Different parts of the world have witnessed demonstrations against the Zionist entity, among which South Korea, as people demonstrated in front of the Israeli embassy in Seoul, holding posters that showed the suffering of the Palestinians amid the systematic killing by Israeli forces, describing the Israeli entity as a war criminal. Others expressed grief over the civilians who lost their lives by offering white roses. New York City also witnessed huge demonstrations by Arab and foreigners to condemn the barbarian Israeli assault against the Palestinians and the silence of the international community about it. And in Tehran and other Iranian cities, masses took to the streets to denounce the Israeli aggression on the Gaza Strip. shouting slogans against the United States and other Western countries because of their continuous support to Israel, which encourages it to go on with its aggression. Diplomatically, Iran sent cables of different international institutions calling for an immediate action to halt the aggression of the Zionist entity on Gaza and to put an end to the siege imposed on the Strip. For his part, Iranian Foreign Minister Ali Akbar Salehi condemned the collective crimes perpetrated by Israel and its forces against civilians in Gaza, adding that this will result in instability in the region. Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez also condemned the Israeli assault on Gaza, describing it as barbaric. Chavez said that Israel have once again bombarded Gaza Strip because the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas insisted to head for the UN to call for a membership for Palestine. Chavez called for peace and an end for the ferocious attack on Syria and Palestine. The Indian Marxist Communist Party has condemned the Israeli assault on Gaza Strip, calling upon the Indian government to cut off its military relations with Israel. An alignment movement also vehemently condemned Israel's assault on Gaza and called upon the Security Council to take immediate and concrete actions to stop it. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov called for stopping all forms of violence in Syria and to create the appropriate circumstances for comprehensive political dialogue. Lavrov added that Russia is highly concerned over the increased activities of the terrorist groups in Syria and the escalated violence that is leading to more bloodshed and more casualties. He stressed that the changes in the Arab world should not stop search for solutions for the regional conflicts such as the Arab-Israeli conflict, reiterating Russia's call to continue Palestinian-Israeli negotiations with the aim of reaching a comprehensive settlement on the basis of international law. In local news, a unit of the armed forces clashed this morning with terrorists in El Jbeila neighborhood in Deir ez-Zor city, killing and injuring scores of them. Terrorists Ayman Ubaid al-Nasser and Abd al-Salam al-Dirawi were identified among the dead. Meanwhile, another army unit confronted an armed terrorist group south of Al-Maqabir area in Deir ez-Zor, killing and injuring its members. And in Aleppo, a Syrian Arab army unit attacked a gathering for terrorists near Al-Sharq al-Awsat bakery and the nearby buildings, which were used as dens for terrorist groups. The armed terrorist groups used the Afto Machine building where the terrorists were hiding. The Syrian Arab army also pursued the terrorists in all the Al-Layramoun neighborhood. A number of terrorists who had been perpetrating acts of killing and looting in Al Amin Street in the Tadamun neighborhood were killed earlier today. An official source noted that while terrorists were killed, others managed to flee away towards Yelda town, leaving behind their ammunition. It added that the army members destroyed a booby-trapped car in Al Amin Street. In a new crime against civilians, the terrorist groups killed a number of citizens in the Tadamun neighborhood in Damascus. An official source said that the terrorists shot a number of civilians after having tied them in the surrounding of Az-Zubair Mosque in the neighborhood. Meanwhile, in the farms of Al-Qaboon neighborhood in the city of Damascus, an army unit targeted a den for terrorists and destroyed a car equipped with an anti-aircraft machine gun, killing all the terrorists inside it. An official source said that 2 other vehicles carrying terrorist ammunition and machine guns were destroyed in the same area. And in the countryside of Idlib, the Syrian Arab army units destroyed a number of cars equipped with machine guns in the areas of Saraqib, Taftanaz, Harim and Ma'arat Nu'man. A source in the city said that an army unit targeted an operation center for terrorists in Saraqib, noting that a large number of terrorists were killed inside the center and a number of cars, ammunition and weapons were destroyed. In Taftanaz town, a unit of the armed forces carried out an operation in which it targeted a gathering for terrorists and a number of cars equipped with Dushka machine guns and killed a number of terrorists in it. Most of them were non-Syrians. Another army unit killed terrorists and destroyed a number of their vehicles during storming a terrorist den in Ad-Deir al-Sharqi in the countryside of Ma'arat Nu'man. Brazilian government said that it would not recognize the so-called coalition of the opposition in Syria formed last week in the Qatari capital Doha. Spokesman of the Ministry of Foreign Relations in Brazil stated that the Security Council did not take any stance vis-à-vis the legitimacy of this entity, asserting that it was necessary for the Security Council to recognize this council before admitting its legitimacy. He pointed out that Brazil's stand aimed at enhancing the role of the Security Council to face other groups that have been formed lately to discuss the situation in Syria, among which the so-called Syria's friends. The spokesman further expressed Brazil's concern over providing the opposition in Syria with arms, as some countries like France call for, because this would worsen the situation in the country and lead to more violence. Thousands of Jordanians took to the streets in the capital Amman following Friday's prayers to protest against raising prices of oil derivatives, chanting slogans against the king. Meanwhile, hundreds of loyals to King Abdullah took to the streets, which made the Jordanian police interfere and separate between the two opposing sides. Police sources said that about 93 violent incidents were recorded in different parts of the country in the last 2 days, adding that 54 security men and 17 civilians were injured and 158 demonstrators were arrested. With this, we come to the end of our news for today. For more details, you can visit our website in English, www.syriaonline.sy.